So, on your website, we read about the cycling network and how you're trying to promote the cycling charter. Why now? Is it because of clean air zones? Because it's going to be introduced in 2020? Is there any connection?
I think it is all connected, but we have been trying to push cycling for a long time in the West Midlands, not just in Birmingham, but in the West Midlands. And then there are areas like Big Birmingham Bikes to create the network. I mean, there are. I think cycling has increased in Birmingham, but I can probably find the figures for you. I don't want to say it on camera, but there has been some increase in the level of cycling, hasn't there?
In terms of the national figure, it's only got 2% of journeys each year cycling, and I think the West Midlands is 1%. So we made a commitment politically is that we wanted to see 5% of all journeys people cycling up to 2023 or 2025. So we've made a commitment politically as an organisation to do that. So you don't just click a finger and that happens. You need to do something around that, but also around the clean air zone, especially around air quality and pollution. It's driven up the policy agenda, and government are trying to take action. One, because that they are going to get fined by the European courts while we're still in Europe. But it's not a new thing. Air pollution has been around for a long time, and there's been a lot of work we've been trying to do, and we've made some successes. In terms of the low emission type of infrastructure, the stuff in the city centre. You are seeing quite a big spike of people buying electric vehicles and kind of low emission vehicles. But we need to do a lot more to see that kind of really ramping up where it becomes the norm. And obviously, cost and price still has an impact really. But what we've been doing is just trying to work with operators in the city council to make sure the infrastructure and the incentives are right. But I think it's something that we need to probably accelerate, but we can't really do it on our own. We need to work across with loads of different partners, but we actually need some, big policy support from government. So one thing we've been pushing with a lot of our national partners is around diesel scrappage, because we've all kind of come to the conclusion that diesels are the problem on some of our air quality problems. But going back 15 years, the way of dealing with CO2 was to encourage everyone to buy diesels. So it's slightly unfair to then turn around and say, well, we're going to ban diesels and you can't come in. So what we need to do is actually make sure that we incentivise people. I don't know whether to have a diesel scrappage scheme or to give them some incentive to go away from using their diesel car and driving in to heavily congested or heavily populated areas. So it's a kind of it's the old carrot and stick approach. Is that if you want to bash them with a stick, you might want to give them a carrot first type of approach.
So you've mentioned jump from 2 to 5% on cycling increase. Do you have any other goals for the future, like concerning other modes of transport?
This is all the difficult one really, because it depends on the type of journeys people make where they live. But in an ideal world, you probably want to see more people using public transport and less people using the car. But I think there's an acceptance that car always plays a role, but can we inform people to give enough information and the infrastructure to then determine, make their own rational decision what they want to do, and then probably stuff Chris is doing around technology and incentives can be.
It's a balance, isn't it? Because I think we've said is it something by 2030 the population of Liverpool is going to come and live here in the West Midlands, so we're going to have lots and lots of people, we're going to have lots more people. So there just isn't going to be the space. So you forget pollution, there just isn't going to be the road space for people to go there. So we've got to give people new choices. And the way we'll do that is we'll continue to try and improve bus, tram and train. We'll continue to improve cycling and walking, but we'll also look at new things. We'll look at, like taxi sharing, we'll look at electronic taxis, we'll look at all sorts of other stuff that will bring new answers, if you like. And we think actually in 5 years' time there might be forms of transport we've not imagined yet, that we've not really thought about. So it's just like the phone, isn't it? Was it 11 years ago you said the iPhone came out?
Yeah, I think the statistic is 11 years ago is when Apple launched the iPhone.
Yeah.
And so when a phone was a phone, when you actually had to ring people. Now it's in effect a computer, but that's fundamentally changed. The way travel works. If you ever go to, like, say, London, or where do we go? You used to go to a kiosk and get a map, or look at a totem. Now you just use your phone. It's like kind of second nature, isn't it? Really. I think another thing to kind of look at is, obviously investing in big infrastructure has some negatives, so building the tram network will have some disruption. So what we're maybe trying to do as well, which they did in London for the Olympics, is to encourage people to think, well, do you really need to travel today? Can you work from home? Can you, in terms of changing the nature of travel, really?
Yeah.
That's a different way, because building things is great, it's good for the economy, it's great, and eventually get people moving around, but then do you need to actually, while you're building it, make sure that it could be disruption? Can you tell people, do this, do that, but could they work from home? And it did have some big successes in London when they did the Olympics.
And it's times of travel as well, and it's looking at the highways to make things flow as freely as possible, because the worst thing you can have is everything sitting in the city centre, going nowhere, belching out fumes. That's no good for anybody. So we're looking at ways that can work on the roads with, I know another work stream is connected to autonomous vehicles, connected vehicles, how you can make better use of the road space, how you can mean that people don't have to stop at traffic lights, they get green lights, how you deal with freight through the city centre. So there's all sorts of things that we're looking at that are trying to keep things moving as smoothly and as freely as possible. The worst thing you can have is everything sitting in the city, just adding to that congestion. So anything we can do, from, as Adam says, work at home, coming later, leave later, look at the highways, make that flow better, all of those things we're using to try and make a difference.
I went to a meeting yesterday and we were talking about the Olympics, and there was some stuff done in Australia. So the tagline was reduce, retime, reroute and remode. So that's about that, like working practices change and that sort of thing. And I was at a meeting about some work on the M5 that's going to close some of the motorway. And for the first time, a guy from M6 toll had come, so that's the private motorway of the M6 that you pay for to use, and he was invited to public transport for a meeting about like that being used if there's incidents and that sort of thing. So that's about like very, we're already always looking, and that's for in 3 weeks' time when something closes on the motorway. That's what we're doing there. So a few ideas there.
Thank you.